Hey everyone, Andy, welcome back. Do you think you know the story of Snow White, the beautiful princess, the seven adorable dwarfs, the poison apple, Andy the handsome prince who saves her with a kiss? Well, what if he told you the story you know is a sanitized, Disney-fied version of a much darker, grimmer fairy tale? Today, we're diving deep into the original tale of Snow White as collected by the Brothers Grimm. Andy, trust me, it's not the bedtime story you remember. The story starts familiarly enough. A queen, sewing by a window in the middle of winter, pricks her finger. 3 drops of blood fall onto the poor white snow. She wishes for a child with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and the hair as black as ebony. Soon after, she gives birth to a beautiful baby girl named Snow White, but tragically, the queen dies in childbirth. Her father, the king, takes a new wife. This new queen is stunningly beautiful, but also incredibly vain and wicked. She possesses a magic mirror. Andy, every day she asks it, "Mirror, mirror, on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" For years, the mirror always answers that she is the fairest. But Snow White grows up, and her beauty begins to surpass even the queen's. The day comes when the queen asks her mirror, and it replies, "My queen, you are fair." It is true, but Snow White is 1,000 times fairer than you. Consumed by jealousy, the queen's heart turns to stone. She can't stand the thought of anyone being more beautiful than her. So, she summons a huntsman and he gives him a terrifying order. "Take Snow White into the forest, kill her, and bring me back her lungs and liver as proof of the deed." The huntsman, horrified but bound by duty, takes Snow White into the woods. But when he raises his knife, he can't bring himself to harm the innocent girl. Instead, he tells her to run and never come back. To deceive the queen, he hunts a young boar and brings its lungs and liver to the castle. The wicked queen, believing it's Snow White's, has the cook prepare them, and she devours them, thinking she has consumed her rival's life force. Meanwhile, Snow White runs terrified through the forest. She runs over sharp stones and through thorny bushes until she stumbles upon a tiny cottage. Inside, everything is small and neat. A table is set with 7 little plates, 7 little cups, and the 7 little beds are lined up against the wall. Exhausted, she eats a little from each plate, drinks a little from each cup, and tries out the beds until she finds one that fits. She falls fast asleep. When night falls, the owners of the cottage return. They are not the cute, named dwarfs from the movie, but 7 miners who dig for ore in the mountains. They are shocked to find the sleeping princess. When she wakes up, they listen to her story and, taking pity on her, offer her shelter. In exchange, she will cook, clean, and keep the house in order for them. They give her one crucial warning: "Be careful, your stepmother will soon find out you're here. Don't let anyone in the cottage while we're away." But at the castle, the queen, confident she is once again the fairest, consults her magic mirror. To her fury, the mirror reveals the truth. "My queen, you are fair." It is true, but Snow White, beyond the mountains with the 7 dwarfs, is still 1,000 times fairer than you. The queen is enraged. She realizes the huntsman tricked her. This time, she decides to take matters into her own hands. She disguises herself as an old peddler selling colorful lace bodices. She travels to the dwarf's cottage and calls out her wares. Snow White, enchanted by the beautiful laces, forgets the dwarf's warning and lets the woman in. The disguised queen offers to help her lace up the new bodice, but she pulls the laces so tight that Snow White can't breathe and collapses, seemingly dead. The queen rushes away, triumphant. That evening, the dwarfs return to find Snow White lifeless on the floor. Horrified, they notice the tight latching. They quickly cut the laces, and Snow White gasps for air, coming back to life. The dwarfs are relieved but sternly warn her again not to trust anyone. The queen, back home, asks her mirror the fateful question, only to hear that Snow White is still alive. Now beside herself with rage, she crafts a new plan. Using dark magic, she creates a poison comb. Disguising herself as a different old woman, she returns to the cottage. Snow White peeks out the window and, despite the dwarf's warnings, is tempted by the beautiful comb. The old woman offers to comb her hair, and as soon as the poison teeth touch her scalp, Snow White falls down as if dead. When the dwarfs come home, they find her again. They immediately find the poison comb, pull it from her hair, and once again, Snow White revives. They make her promise, with the utmost seriousness, never to open the door for any reason. For the 3rd time, the queen consults her mirror and learns that her attempts have failed. Now, her fury knows no more bounds. She goes to a secret, hidden room in the castle and, using all her sorcery, crafts her most devious weapon yet, a poison apple. It's a masterpiece of deception. One half is beautiful, red, and tempting, but laced with a deadly poison. The other half is pale green and completely harmless. Disguised as a farmer's wife, she makes her third and final trip to the cottage. Snow White refuses to let her in, saying the dwarfs have forbidden it. Silly child, the woman says, are you afraid of poison? Look, I'll chop the apple in two. You eat the red half, and I'll eat the white. To prove it safe, she takes a bite from the harmless green half. Snow White, convinced, takes the offered red half and takes a single bite. Instantly, the poison takes effect, and she falls to the ground, lifeless. The queen looks at her and cackles, white as snow, red as blood, black as ebony. This time, the dwarfs can't wake you. She returns to the castle, and finally, the mirror proclaims her the fairest of them all. When the dwarfs find Snow White this time, they try everything, but they cannot revive her. So are no more tight laces, no more comb to remove. They weep for 3 days. They and bring themselves to bury her in the cold ground because she looks as if she is only sleeping. So they build a beautiful glass coffin for her, inscribed with her name and the title in golden letters. They place it on a mountain top, and the one dwarf always stays to guard it. A long time passes. One day, a prince is reading through the forest and he comes upon the glass coffin. He is so captivated by Snow White's timeless beauty that he cannot look away. He begs the dwarfs to let him have the coffin, promising to honor and cherish her as his most precious possession. The dwarfs, seeing his genuine sorrow, take pity on him and agree. And here is the biggest twist. There is no more magic kiss. The prince has his servants carry the glass coffin away. As they are walking, one of them stumbles on a tree root. The jolt dislodges the piece of poisoned apple from Snow White's throat. Her eyes flutter open. She sits up, and she is alive. The prince is overjoyed. He declares his love for her, and she, seeing his kindness, agrees to marry him. But the story isn't over. The wicked queen is, of course, invited to the wedding. Dressed in her finest clothes, she asks her mirror one last time who the fairest is. The mirror replies, my queen, you are fair. It is true, but the young queen is 1,000 times fairer than you. The queen is horrified, but her vanity and curiosity are too strong. She has to see this new, more beautiful queen. She arrives at the wedding and recognizes Snow White immediately. She's frozen in terror, but her punishment is already prepared. Iron slippers had been heated over a coal fire. They are brought to her with tongs, and she is forced to put them on. She must then dance in the red-hot shoes until she falls down, dead. And that, my friends, is the brutal, grim, and the original ending to the story of Snow White. So, what do you think? It's a fair cry from Happily Ever After, isn't it? Let me know in the comments which version you prefer. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this trip into the darker side of fairy tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story. See you next time.